Now putting a missile turret here really helps, so that engineering bay did actually come in handy. But I didn't actually, I actually intended of going some sort of bio-ball, I think, that's why I got the engineering bay. And then I decided not to, go air instead, since I'm a lot more confident doing air. But I have still managed to use the engineering bay, because obviously you need the engineering bay to get yourself missile turrets. And a sensor tower. No one ever builds sensor tower, but it is a very good building. It just doesn't get built, to be honest. It's only 125 minerals, 100 Vespene gas. It can be destroyed quite easily, so you'd have to put it somewhere safe, like closest to your base, and then it can only sort of see to this radius, so I guess I can see why people don't build them. It's good, but if you know what you're doing, you don't really need to be able to see like an area just slightly outside of your base. You pretty much know what your enemy's doing anyway. So I'm a bit scattered all over the place. This has certainly left me very scatty, this game. I was hoping to win it a bit earlier with the Banshees against these Marauders, thinking, "Wah! I've got air, you haven't. I've won! Yeah!" Not quite indeed. So I'm all over the place right now. I guess my next movement is to try and scout out and see if there's any more expansions that he might possibly have. But I doubt it, because he's got enough Vikings to suggest that he could only possibly have one right now. Can't afford all of that, and like 2 expansions I wouldn't have thought. And he's had that expansion earlier than me, by the way, if I didn't cover that. So yeah, he's in the advantage here. He's got mass Vikings. So what am I doing? Oh, well, it looks like I might be going 4s. Just got to wait till I get 300 minerals and then I can start pumping out 4s. This is what Terrans have been doing against me. I mean, if anything, I've learnt from losing so much to Terrans in Terran versus Terran. They tend to go, like I was saying, marine tanks, and then they might step it up to 4s if they see you going air, rather than actually going Vikings themselves. Because 4s are awesome anti-air, and they're great against ground, and they're ranged. I mean, they're just brilliant units. By far, I think the best super unit that each race has, like Starcraft, Ultralisk, in terms of ground. Starcraft, Ultralisk, Protoss have Colossus, and Terran have 4. I think 4 is definitely the best. Colossus is a close second, and Ultralisk is really bad. We're not going to get too far into that, but I think it's going to be... I'll be very suspicious if anyone really questions me on saying that Ultralisk are bad. And saying, what? They're well good. Nerf Ultralisk. No, they're really not. So anyway, 4s are here. I did send my SCVs to repair them earlier, so I panicked a bit there, thinking I was going to lose them straight away. The reason why is because I had a Marine in the group. So that's one thing you want to do. This screwed me over. Let me just pause it just a quick second. Right, okay. Do not have a Marine in the group of your SCVs. I had him here for like early game against Reapers, and I forgot about that. And then what I did is I selected a bunch of SCVs to come repair my 4, because I knew it was going to start getting nailed by the ground Vikings that were in assault mode. So what I did is I brought them over and then pressed R and clicked to my 4. But that didn't work too well because I had a Marine in the group. So what you can see is if you click R, it's not going to do anything because there's no R ability. Whereas if you tab, then I've got the 4. That wasn't actually in the group. If you tab, then you get the SCVs, and you press R. There's your repair, and then you can repair onto the 4. So basically, what I've gone about a really long way of saying this, but basically don't have a Marine in your group of SCVs if you want to give commands to SCVs quickly when a big battle's going on and you can't concentrate on tabbing. It sort of throws you off. I was wondering why he wasn't getting repaired. They just sort of went over to him. So yeah, make sure you haven't got a Marine. You've only selected SCVs, and then they will actually do what you click them to do. Okay? Righto, let's begin. Well, let's continue. Yeah. So, yeah, I've got a whole bunch of SCVs down here. Playing like a bit of a noob, to be honest. I've been well out of my comfort zone in this game. Really out of it. I mean, it's just totally shook me up with all those Vikings. That's made me panic. But now I feel like I've got a bit more control of it because I've now switched to 4s. Now, like I said, you might actually notice a couple of Ravens as well. These are mostly for point defense drones, but I've got to let them get to 100 energy before I can actually use that. Point defense drones, they absorb enemy lasers, missiles, generally units that do ground-to-air attacks. It's not all of them though. I have tested it a little bit, not fully, but it definitely works against Stalkers and Hydras, but it doesn't work against Archons from what I could tell. even though they can hit ground to air, but I won't get too far into that. I mean, there's still a lot of testing to do with that. But I've got a nice little army here. I've got my SCVs basically stuck on auto repair with it, so I feel like I'm going to put some pressure on, which is quite handy for me because he's gone for that other expansion, but he can't use it yet, so that's 400 minerals down the drain unless he can make good use of it. So this is the part where I go for it. The fours, like I was saying earlier, they're really, really good, and you want to try and get them into your Terran versus Terran battles because they can use their special ability, which does 500 damage over 6 seconds, and it stuns the enemy unit. So if I use it on that 4 over there, which I'm about to, see, he gets stopped. He was about to use it on my 4, and he just sort of froze. So not only is it awesome for doing the damage, it actually freezes and stuns the enemy. So you really want to use it on those big old units. So the point defense drone, I think I put down 1, but it used up all of its energy pretty quickly. There you go, another one gets used. So it wasn't that great, to be honest. But the reason why I got it was because I had too much Vespene gas, I noticed. So Ravens are 100 minerals and 200 Vespene gas, so I thought, screw it, I may as well pump those out whilst I use the rest of my minerals for 4s. So this is it. I'm putting down missile turrets, which is a really sweet little move. This is actually something that Terran used to do a lot in Starcraft 1. They used to do tank pushes with missile turrets that I believe someone else posted on one of my videos. So yeah, it's a very good strategy, and it can obviously be useful in StarCraft 2 as well, as we can see here, because the missile turrets are going to deal with any Vikings that are attacking any air units I have. That I don't have air units, but you can get the gist that it's still useful to put them down if you can afford to put them down, whilst I focus on the ground units that force. So he's got a siege tank there. I've noticed that finally after I've taken enough damage. So actually I think that the 4 is absorbing most of the splash damage that the siege tank does. That's something I'll have to test, but my SCVs didn't seem to be taking too much damage versus that, at least not the ones on the left hand side. So the 4 might actually absorb it. So I've got my 4 doing some massive anti-air damage along with my Vikings and the missile turrets whilst they were in range to their orbital command. So hopefully I'll be able to bring that down. That, is he still in the game? I don't know. Doesn't look like he's got many units, but he is starting to saturate these minerals over here, and he's turning it into a planetary fortress to deal with any needy or whatever that might come his way. Now at this point, I think it is a good game, to be honest. I don't really see how he could come back. I'm not sure if I have seen that. No, I haven't seen that, so I don't know. So he obviously still thinks this is going at the moment because he's got that expansion, whilst I don't know it's there. Now I'm going to do something cheeky here, and I'm going to expand at his expo. This gives me control as long as the missile turrets are there as well, so it's sort of like an extra base to run to. I'm not really thinking of using it. I could even turn it into a planetary fortress because I've got the engineering bay. You need one of those to get a planetary fortress, by the way. And yeah, that would be quite interesting. So I've got 3 4s, a couple of Banshees, a couple of Vikings on the ground. Don't really need much anti-air now, what with the 4s there, and obviously the SCVs to repair. So it's all mechanical going on here. No Marines, none of that bio-bull. That sounds quite funny. None of that bull. So yeah, I'm using the awesome ability here, the 250 mm strike cannons. Very useful to do against C. Just use it straight away against these enemy 4s, and it's just standing there, can't do a single thing. In fact, it just gets one-shotted, because 4s have 400 HP. So that's real ouch for him. Really ouch for him. Must have been feeling that. So yeah, like I say, this is by far not a perfect game. Things got crazy. I made a lot of mistakes and all of that, but yeah, it turned out alright in the end after I started getting myself 4s. So that's what you need to do, really, in a Terran versus Terran, is get a 4 somewhere in the mix, because they're just awesome, awesome units. I just thought this was a strange game, how things turned out, what with the mass SCV repairing and that, and it really worked out for me. I don't often practice this, so that's why it was all so bizarre. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. This has been Witty. Please subscribe, rate, and comment. Bye-bye.